Okay, so strap yourselves in for this one. We're going deep today.
Sounds a bit ominous. What have we got?
Well, it's a real doozy. It's the
Wh-
case of Simon Ekpa. Remember him?
Yeah, I remember the name. Biafra, right.
Bingo. Self-proclaimed Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile. Except he's not in exile. At least, not in the way you'd think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So Ekpa's operating out of Finland, not Nigeria. And
Ah.
that's where things get kind of wild. See, the previous Nigerian government accused him of some pretty serious things,
Like what?
like forming a paramilitary group, basically an unofficial army.
Yeah.
And they're saying he used this group to force people in the eastern states, where the Biafran movement is strongest, to get on board with his agenda.
Whoa. Okay. So not just speeches and protests. We're talking a potential armed force?
Yeah, and that's why the Nigerian government's up in arms, so to
Yeah.
speak. They claim they had to take military action to protect their own country.
Makes sense from their perspective. But this Ekpa guy, he's in Finland. What's he doing over there exactly?
That's the million-dollar question. He's been really vocal denouncing Nigerian citizens.
Freedom of speech, though, right? Finland's big on that.
True, but even they have limits. They're saying Ekpa's gone too far, that he's actually undermining their legal system and their standards of justice. It's a thorny issue.
Definitely. So why hasn't Finland taken action then?
Well, they haven't exactly thrown the book at him yet. They're being cautious,
Hmm.
which, knowing Finland's legal system, isn't surprising. They're big on due process and all that.
Right, they won't do anything rash. And to actually prosecute Ekpa, Finland would need concrete evidence, wouldn't they? Proof that his actions in Finland directly translate to crimes in Nigeria.
Exactly. It's not like they can just go off accusations. It has to be rock solid. And gathering that kind of evidence, especially across borders, well, it's a tall order.
Yeah, internationally, it's a whole other ballgame.
Which brings us to another possibility. Do you think Nigeria is hesitant to push too hard? Make a big international fuss.
I see what you mean. The Biafran issue is a powder keg.
Exactly. Dragging it onto the world stage, it could blow up in their faces. They might be trying to keep a lid on things, avoid stirring the pot too much. Definitely a possibility. I mean, think about the case of Nnamdi Kanu. He's the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra.
Yeah, he's been detained in Nigeria. And there's been a whole thing about the International Criminal Court.
Right. His supporters want his case taken to the ICC, but it hasn't happened.
So, is there a pattern here? Nigeria seems to be steering clear of these international courts. What's the thinking there, do you think?
It's hard to say for sure, but it could be a matter of national pride, a reluctance to let outsiders meddle in their affairs. Plus, who knows what kind of precedent it could set. Other separatist movements might see it as an opportunity to internationalize their struggles.
It's a sticky situation for sure. So we've got Nigeria playing it close to the chest, and Finland caught in the crosshairs. What a mess. Yeah, Finland's in a tough spot. On the one hand, they're all about freedom of speech. But on the other, they can't just let their country become a haven for people inciting violence elsewhere.
So for our listener, just to recap, Simon Ekpa, a major figure in the Biafran movement, living in Finland, accused of some pretty heavy stuff. But Finland's got their own legal system, their own way of doing things. And Nigeria, they're being tight-lipped, maybe for their own political reasons. It's a standoff.
A standoff with some seriously big questions hanging in the balance.
Absolutely. And honestly, this whole thing, it really makes you think, doesn't it? About how these international legal systems work, especially when you're talking about something as charged as the Biafran movement.
There are no easy answers here. It's a tangle of politics, law, human rights, and the stakes are high.
No kidding. So keep your eyes on Finland. What they do next, it could have ripple effects for similar cases down the line. This deep dive may be over, but the story's just getting started.
Keep us posted.
Will do.
See ya.